Let's kick off. Right. So, tonight we are going somewhere powerful, not forward, but backward. Not because we're stuck in the past, but because sometimes the roots of what you're struggling with today were planted years ago. So, let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever felt like no matter how many affirmations you say or how many vision boards you create, there's still a part of you that doubts yourself? Drop a yes in the chat. If sometimes you feel that way, like you're doing all the things, and I'm seeing those yeses coming through. So, there's still a part of you that feels that way because there are fears that need to be seen and need to be addressed, right? And that's when you start to have doubts in yourself. That's when you start to feel low on your confidence sometimes. But let me explain to you, that is not the grown-up you that's talking. That is the child inside of you who wasn't protected. That's the child that wasn't praised or wasn't prioritized. And tonight we're going to meet that inner child. There's going to be no blame placed. We're not meeting that inner child to shame them, but we need to meet the inner child within us so that we can hold them. Because the truth is, many of us grew up learning how to survive, but not how to feel safe. And when you don't feel safe as a child, you become an adult that doesn't trust yourself, an adult who overthinks, an adult that people pleases, an adult that second guesses themselves. So before we go any further, I just want to remind you of something. I want to tell you something. You are not broken. You were just ignored. And tonight, that ends. We are going to reclaim the voice of your inner child. We're going to rebuild the trust of your inner child. And we're going to remind your inner child that they're not alone anymore. So you know how I love my interaction? We're still going to have interaction tonight. We might just be a little bit more serious, but drop a one in the chat if you're willing to show up for that little child that you used to be. And I'm seeing the one starting to come through. And drop a two in the chat if you believe you can begin to love that inner child into healing, even if you were not taught how. And I am seeing those twos starting to come through. So before I go any further, I'm just going to quickly formally introduce myself. My name is Michelle Jenny, and I am here to motivate you. So confidence on, doubt off, let's go. I am a wife and a mother. I'm a serial entrepreneur and an identity mentor and performance coach. Now, you could choose to pay attention for the next 30 minutes or so. That is, of course, your choice. I recommend that you do pay attention. And if you can, minimize distractions and listen with an open mind. And you're going to want to grab a pen and some paper because you're going to want to take notes. And I'm going to be giving you some exercises to do as we go through this session tonight. So let's start off with our first step of healing. The first thing I want you to do is acknowledge the existence of your inner child. I want you to get ready to see them, not just as a memory or version of yourself you've outgrown, but as a living, breathing part of you that's been waiting for their moment to shine. The little child you used to be didn't just disappear. They just went quiet. And every time you told yourself you had to be strong, you had to stop crying, you had to keep going, you learned that their feelings didn't matter. But tonight, we're going to acknowledge them. You get to say, I see you, I remember you, and I'm ready to listen to you now. So this is the first step, not fixing the inner child, not rushing the inner child, but just seeing them and recognizing that they are still inside of you. So drop a one in the chat if you're ready to acknowledge the existence of your inner child. And I am seeing those ones coming through. James, Nahama, Militia, Nicola, Lisa, Vanessa, Amazing. I am seeing those ones starting to come through now. Now let's move on to the second step. You need to validate the emotions of your inner child. Now that you've seen that the inner child is something inside of you or someone inside of you, let's talk about something they probably have been waiting years to hear. What your inner child needs to hear is it made sense that you felt the way that you felt. You were not weak for crying. You were not being silly for needing attention. You were not being dramatic for being hurt. You were little. You you wanted to make sense of the big world, but you had a tiny heart. And for a lot of us, the people we needed to help us understand those feelings, they didn't know how to understand those feelings either. So instead of them helping us, we were told, stop crying. We were told, don't be silly. We were told, you're being too sensitive. And little by little, we learned to bury everything on the inside. But when you bury everything in the way that we were taught, the way that we learned, that buried emotion, it doesn't just go away. What happens to that emotion is it turns you into a people pleasing person. It makes you value perfectionism, right? It turns into fear, it turns into shame. And the truth is, your feelings were never too much. Your feelings just were never meant. So I need you to write this sentence down for me. Write this sentence down. It made sense that I felt, leave a space, because, leave another space. I'm going to repeat that. It made sense that I felt whatever you felt, because whatever you felt. So, for an example, it could be, it made sense that I felt unworthy because I was only praised when I achieved. Now, as you validate your emotions, remember this, validation is not about blaming the past, it's about giving your inner child the truth that they needed, but they never received. Okay? Your inner child didn't need perfection. What your inner child needed was someone to say, I understand. It wasn't your fault. You were doing the best that you could do. So drop a 2 in the chat if you know you need to validate some emotions from when you were a child. That you're going to be writing this sentence over and over. It made sense that I felt X because Y. And I'm seeing those twos, Vandana, Lisa, Nicola, James, Vanessa, I'm seeing those twos, Marco coming through, right? So once you've acknowledged her or your inner child, and now you're validating the emotions of your inner child, the next thing to do is you need to give your inner child a voice. And by giving them a voice, how we're going to do that is we're going to write a letter to the inner child. Your inner child doesn't need you to fix them. That's not what they need. They need to hear from you. Okay, so it's time now to talk to your inner child, and I want you to write a letter to your inner child. And this is good. This is part of your homework. Write a letter to your inner child, not as a task, but as a gift. Okay, because your inner child has been waiting for years for someone to say whatever it is you're about to say. It's not too late to say this to your inner child. And the thing is, the only person your inner child wants to hear from is you. But you have to let them know. You have to let your inner child know what you see in them now, what you're sorry that they went through, what you admire about her, and what you promise her going forward. You don't have to overthink it. I just want you to begin the letter. Just start to pour your heart out. And as you write, more and more will come up. But you could start it by saying something like, Dear Sally, I see how brave you were when. I am sorry no one told you. I love that you always. So you need to big your inner child up. You need to acknowledge what they've been through. You've had to acknowledge what they've done, or maybe you need to acknowledge what they shouldn't have done. Dear Sally, you should have never had to. From now on, I promise. You see, you don't have to wait to get closure from someone else. You are the closure that you need. Okay, so drop a 3 in the chat if you are now thinking about the letter that you are going to write to your inner child to help her heal, to help him heal, to help him or her get past the hurts of the past. Okay, and I'm seeing those 3s starting to come through. The next thing I want to do is reconnect with joy. Reconnect with your person or with yourself before the world told you to shrink, before you knew how to shine. Because now you've acknowledged your inner child. Now you've validated the pain that they felt. You even gave them a letter that they've been waiting for. But now let's bring the spark back. Because before the pain, before the pressure, before the people pleasing, your inner child was pure joy. Your inner child danced without needing a reason. I mean, we've all been there. Or maybe if you can't remember, some of you have young kids, you've had young kids before. Do you remember your 7-year-olds or your 6-year-olds just dancing like in the middle of H&M for no reason and not caring? I remember my kids doing that and people going, oh my gosh, your kids are so brave. I'm like, no, they just haven't become conscious yet. That's what it was. Your inner child sang like nobody was listening. Your inner child dreamed without permission. And guess what? That joy, that sparkle, that magic that you felt as a child when you did those things, that is still within you. Okay? It's just been covered up by being busy, by being responsible, by being everything for everyone. But that is not your true self. That is your survival self. So I want you to think about this. What did you love doing as a child? Before anyone told you that it was silly to do it, before anybody told you that it was unimportant, before anybody told you it was a waste of time to do that stuff. For me, I loved music. I loved music. I wanted to play instruments. I could read music like I could read a book. But my dad, bless him, from a different generation, didn't see the point of music. Grab a maths book, Michelle. Grab a science book, Michelle. What do you need to be playing the piano for? Singing. There you go. Lisa, you have a beautiful voice as well. Skipping down the street, says Nicola. Singing, says Nahama. So there you go. Singing, music. But we were told it was a waste of time and not to do it. But let me tell you, that child that loved doing those things, silly things, those silly things, that is the real you, right? That is the real you. And that person, that inner child still wants to come out and play. So Dropper, I think we're on what number are we on now? 4? Drop a 4 in the chat. Drop a 4 in the chat if you are going to reclaim some of that silliness. You're going to go out there and have some fun. You're going to go out there and waste some time. But you're going to reconnect. You need to reconnect with the joy of being carefree and of being a child. And I'm seeing those 4s coming in. The next thing I want you to do is set some new beliefs for your inner child. The stories that you were told are not the stories you have to live. Okay? Because let's be real, some of the things that you believe about yourself today, they're not your beliefs, they're hand-me-downs. They're passed down from generation to generation because the generations before us didn't know any better. Right? You're too loud. Nah. You're not smart enough. Oh, this one. You have to work twice as hard to be worth half as much. How about, and ladies, how's this? Nice girls don't do that. Nice girls don't do that. Those are beliefs that have been passed down generation to generation. But guess what? Just because a belief is old doesn't mean that it's true. Okay? And you guys, listen, you have the power to rewrite your beliefs. Right now, tonight, you can rewrite your beliefs. Nicola, that's a good one. Girls should be seen and not heard. Do you know what? I was told that so much. Suppose I never found my voice. Imagine if I never found my voice. My voice is my superpower. But I was told, children should be seen and not heard. Listen, you were never broken. Let's get that straight. We were never broken. We were misinformed. But now we know better, we get to do better, and we get to build better. So drop a 5 in the chat if you know you need to set some new beliefs. And I'm going to go further than that. Drop a 5 in the chat if you know you need to break some generational curses and stop our children and our grandchildren from believing the crap that we were fed. And I'm seeing them 5s coming through. Our grandkids, our children, our grandkids don't need to believe what we believe. Okay, we need to break generational curses and set some new beliefs. And I'm seeing them 5s coming through. Now, this is a bit of an exercise I need for you guys to do. This is a bit of an exercise. I need you guys to do some mirror work. Okay? Some mirror work. So let your inner child hear your voice. Let them see you showing up now. Mirror work sometimes can feel a little bit weird. I'm going to put that disclaimer there now. But you've seen your inner child now. You've held your inner child. You've written a letter to your inner child. You're flipping the lies that your inner child is being living under. So now your inner child needs to see you, because healing isn't just about words on a page. It's about showing up. Okay? It's about looking yourself in the eye and saying, I am here. I've got you. I am not leaving. And this is what mirror work is. And again, it's going to feel a little bit awkward the first time you do it. And it may bring up some emotion as well. Maybe some unwanted emotion, maybe some weird emotions. But that's the whole point of doing this mirror work, right? This is the moment where the adult you becomes a safe place for your inner child. So if you have a mirror nearby, grab it. And if you don't have a mirror nearby, just remember what I'm saying so that you can practice this when you get into the mirror, right? But I want you to put your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath in and out, and then gently say to yourself, I see you. I love you. You didn't deserve what happened. You were just a child, and you did the best that you could. It's safe to be seen now. I've got you. I will never abandon you again. And I want you to take those sentences and I want you to say them every day in the same way in the mirror for the next 7 days and watch what happens. As often as I have said those sentences to myself, even saying them just now on camera, made me get emotional. Okay? When your inner child starts to feel safe, your confidence, your energy, your voice, they will all begin to rise. So drop a 6 in the chat if you know you have some mirror work to work on. You need to work on yourself. You need to start looking in the mirror. You need to tell you how much you love you, how much you are seen. And I am seeing those 6s starting to come through. Lisa, Marco, Rayhan, Vandana, Nicola, Militia, amazing. I will send them out in the group. Yes, Vanessa, I would definitely send those out in the group. Those are important for you guys to say. Now let's talk about play and nourish. Okay, you need to play with your inner child. You need to nourish her, nourish him, because healing doesn't always have to look like hard work. Sometimes healing looks like bubbles and giggles. And I said bubbles because this is funny. So this weekend was my dog's birthday. So my daughter went out and bought him bubbles so that we could all play with bubbles with the dog. So much fun. Like my inner child came out and I was jumping from the bubbles the same way and playing with the dog. It was loads of fun. Anyway, so you guys have started some incredible work tonight, right? You've thought about your inner child, you've met your inner child, you've said some love. I'm sure some of you may have felt some emotions and may have had some tears come in there. I know my eyes got a bit watery when I was saying those affirmations. But what's the next step? It's what makes sure she stays alive or he stays alive inside of you, because your inner child doesn't just want to be healed. Your inner child wants to be happy. Your inner child wants to play, wants to laugh, wants to explore, wants to be nourished, not just emotionally, but spiritually, physically, creatively. And let me tell you this, even as grown-ups, you are allowed to have fun. You don't need to have nobody's permission to choose joy, okay? So I want you to think about this. What is something playful that you love to do as a child that you haven't done for a long time? Maybe it's roller skating. Maybe it's playing jump rope. Maybe it's watching cartoons. Oh my gosh, I used to love the Flintstones. Am I showing my age? I used to love watching the Flintstones and Scooby Doo and that type of stuff. But what is it that you haven't done in years that you want to do? Maybe it's coloring. Play dress up. Even if it's playing dress up with just some accessories, or for me, sometimes when I'm feeling really, really stressed or really, and I really want to be happy, I love playing in makeup. All little girls love to play in makeup, right? So even now, if I want to boost my emotions or feel happy, I go play in some makeup. Let me ask you this. Why haven't you done these things for a long time? What is stopping you from doing those things now? Is it guilt maybe? Do you feel like you can't because you're grown up? Do you feel the pressure of being an adult? Do you feel like, I don't know, maybe you feel like you're too busy? You see, these are not reasons for you not to play, not to explore. Those are actually red flags, because feeling joy from playing, that's your fuel. That's the fuel of life. And the more you nourish your inner child, the more confidence, creativity, and courage is going to flow into your life. Right? So I've got a simple challenge for you this week. And I want proof of this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to schedule in one moment of play, just one moment where you don't have to be a grown up, where you get to roll on the floor with your kids, your grandkids, but just one moment during this week of play. Put it in the calendar, like how you would put in your business meeting, right? And let that little child within you, your inner child, breathe. Let your inner child come out and giggle. Let your inner child have some fun, rest. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your joy, but you do owe it to yourself to have joy in your life. So drop a 7 in the chat. If you are going to schedule some fun in this week, you're going to go out and play. Maybe you're just going to watch cartoons. Maybe you're going to color in your coloring book. Maybe you're going to go put on some makeup. I don't know what it is you want to do. Rehan says, I will play big time. You sound like you're used to that, Rehan. Nahama says, I love this idea. So I see those sevens, Vandana, Lisa, Vanessa, Jane, Nahama. I see these sevens coming through. Bike riding, Lisa. Love it. Love it. Seven, Militia, Marco. I'm seeing these sevens coming through. And guys, I want proof. Okay? Drop some pictures, some videos in the chat if you guys going out there and playing with your inner child. Okay? Let that inner child come out. So I always end this session went really quickly tonight. So I always end every session with a quote. And this evening's quote, your inner child wasn't asking you to fix them. They were just waiting for you to come back. So the reason why I like this quote is it really captures the essence of inner child healing. Because so many of us think that you need to fix what's broken inside of us, right? But the thing is, our inner child isn't broken. Our inner child is lonely. Our inner child is tired. Our inner child is waiting. And healing doesn't mean doing more. It means being there. It means being present. It means listening. It means being loving. It's not about going back in time to undo what happened. That's not possible. But it's about going back to your inner child, showing up now in a way that no one did before, right? Acknowledging what happened before, letting them know that it's okay and that they were fine and that they did okay, right? Because when you really understand this, your whole relationship with yourself begins to change and your confidence starts to shine through and you find your voice. Okay? You find your voice. So just before we sign off, the team is going to drop the link for the school group. It's invitation only. That's where I have all of my replays for all of my videos. And I have some exciting things that I've just launched in there today. So if you take a look in my school group, even if you've been in there already, take a look in my school group, go into my classroom. You're going to see some new stuff in there, okay? I've just put some new stuff in there and I'm quite excited about it. So make sure you take a look. And here is your affirmation for the week. And I don't think we've had any other affirmation that must be as important as these affirmations because this is all about healing that inner child. I am no longer ignoring the little girl or little boy that I used to be. I see her, I love her, and I choose to walk forward with her in joy, safety, and power. Yes, Vanessa. So make sure you screenshot this affirmation. Make sure you read it to yourself every day. I'm also going to put the earlier affirmations that I said into the school chat as well. So make sure you take a look out for those. And all that is left to be said is thank you so much. Thank you for spending your Sunday evening with me, especially because I know the weather in the UK is kind of good today. And a lot of people are traveling down to Essex for our Academy Day tomorrow. So thank you so much for being here. Let me know what hit you the hardest in the school group. Let me know what hit you the hardest in the school group. Let me know what you are going to be doing, what steps you're going to be taking in the school group. I'm going to drop, Melissa, I'm going to drop the affirmation in the group so that you can get it. Okay, make sure you are following me on Instagram. Okay, the link is going to be dropped there. And again, school, and if you are on the recording on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. And if you would like to attend one of our sessions live, make sure you look for the school link, which is down below somewhere. Just look there and join in, and I will make sure that you join the group. Thank you guys so much. And of course, if you want to invite anyone onto this call any Sunday that they just need a little kick to get their week started right, feel free to invite them on. This group is open. This session is open to anyone, not just those in the academy, okay? And with that being said, let me just stop my share so I can see you guys. Listen, this